What is up, everybody? Welcome to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I am Wingman Steve.
And this is Chris 183. Welcome back. Welcome for the first time. All of yous out there that are listening to our special little podcast, Steve, we are back again for another episode in the month of May where HSNE Kills It live. That's right. We're talking about live albums week after week after week. And this week we have yet another diamond in the rough, or maybe not. Maybe it's just rough in the rough. I don't know. It'll depend on our opinions. But we're going to talk about Live in Phoenix. This is a Fall Out Boy live performance from Sky Pavilion. And Steve, this is recorded all the way back in the year 2007.
We've gotten a lot of Fall Out Boy since 2007. Now, some people maybe think that this is the peak of Fall Out Boy. We've had, Take This to Your Grave. We've had Cork Tree. We've had Infinity on High. We've had that one acoustic EP. That's it. After this, a lot more stuff happened. Folie à Deux comes out. The band breaks up. They get back together. They get giant NHL playoff hits. But this is, for people that like the original old school Fall Out Boy, this might be the one for you, right?
I want to say, and I'm not sure, but it would make sense. The last time that I saw Fall Out Boy live, and this could be a lie because maybe I did see them since then, but this is the memorable one, was in 2007-ish. And I'll tell you why. It's because I remember distinctly, and I said this on the show before, but I'll say it again because it's appropriate for this episode. I remember that they specifically said, hey, this is a new track off our upcoming album. We want to know what you guys think about it. And the song was, This Ain't a Scene, it's an arms race. And so this probably made sense for that to be around this time, right?
I think that might have been a year prior to this, but we're in the general vicinity. Okay. Because by the time this is recorded in 2007, this album is released in 2008, but the actual live recording 2007, and Infinity on High was 100% like out. You know, you can tell by just the track list here. Infinity on High is way out. So I would say, if they were announcing that this is off an upcoming album or it's unreleased or something like that, that might have been like 06, so a year prior.
Yeah, they specifically said this is new music. And I remember not necessarily loving the track. That track has grown a little bit on me, but definitely not one of my favorites. But I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail here as we go through it. Steve, Fall Out Boy live. I've seen them several times. Whether I like it or not one of my. We'll get this out of the way. Fall Out Boy is not one of my favorite bands in this genre of music that we love so much. I don't know why specifically. I just don't like their style of music. I don't love Patrick Stumpf too much. I don't know, man. I know a lot of people love him, and I guess the question here is that, do they sound as good live as they do on recorded medium? So, I might be getting too far ahead of myself, but I will be curious to know what you think about that.
Well, let me talk about my experience with Fall Out Boy live. So I'm a big Fall Out Boy fan. I love all eras of Fall Out Boy for the most part. Not a huge fan of Mania. Everything out of that, aside from that, I am a huge fan of. And even that one, I don't totally hate. We did an awful April on that one, but I didn't totally hate it. But let me talk about my experience with Fall Out Boy live. I had seen them a bunch of times early in their career, and honestly, they just didn't sound great live. I don't remember if it was like their timing or just their aptitude at like playing their instruments, but I just remember being like, okay, these guys suck live. Their records are awesome, but they're just not very good live. And that includes, in my opinion, when this live album, Live in Phoenix, came out. When it wasn't until they broke up and then they reformed, so like right after Save Rock and Roll came out, that I gave them another shot when they came to Philadelphia. I was living here at that point in time. and it was completely different. They put on a great show. They sounded fantastic, and to me, they have ever since. And you've definitely, I think, maybe the most memorable time. You saw them on the Hella Mega Tour, so you probably remember that, which is fairly recent. But obviously, this 0506 version stuck in your head as well. Mm-hmm. But kind of a tale of two Fall Out Boys for me in terms of like what they sounded like live. And I still supported them. I still saw them live a bunch of times early. But I just think that they sound better. They're tighter. They're just better musicians now. And they've figured it out. And this album, without getting into it track by track, which we're going to do super soon. This was during that era where I just felt like they just weren't as tight. They weren't that good. And maybe I'm talking about more when they were in like club shows even earlier. This is done in an amphitheater. So quite different than some of these other albums that we've spoken about. And when we compare it to the other albums we did this month, that's the stark difference, right? Newfound Glory, Starting Line, Real Big Fish, they did their live shows in kind of medium-sized clubs, if you will. This one's at an amphitheater, Desert Sky Pavilion, which I think has a different name now. And to me, the live recording doesn't sound as good. The crowd doesn't sound as good. It's a shame because it's actually a really good set, but I don't know that the audio performance is like, blown me away in 2026.
Well, it sounds like a live show. It doesn't sound like a recorded studio live show or something that was doctored up. It sounds like somebody recorded the live show and that's what you got.
On their iPhone.
I mean, maybe there was some enhancements, but for the most part, it sounded what it sounded like. I'll tell you what, though, there's some charm to that. And I don't know whether it was something must have flipped in my brain. I'll tell you what, I'll just give you an example. Tonight, right before the show here, I was giving this album one last listen before we talk about it. I always do that. Like right before the show, I'd like to listen to it just one more time, just to get some final thoughts kind of solidified in my head. And I was coming back from a dinner that I was at, and it is a beautiful night here in Pittsburgh. 82 degrees, nice wind, beautiful, just the dusk, and so you turn this album on, and it felt really good to listen to this during all of that. So windows down, air in your face, it's warm outside. You turn this on, you feel like you're outside at an amphitheater. You feel like you're at a live event. And I don't know, man, it just gave it a new dimension that I didn't really get sitting in my house listening to this. And for some reason, it made it sound better to me. So I don't know whether it was Fall Out Boy. I don't know whether it was just, the fact of the matter of the scenery behind it. But I had a little bit different of an appreciation for this. And some of that could be attributed to what you just talked about and the fact that it sounded more like a raw, unproduced live show. So
I think so. And
potentially.
And my recollection of your Fall Out Boy fandom would be that you do like these initial couple albums better than the later stuff. Like I think I distinctly remember, Cork Tree, Take This to Your Grave as, in your top tier of Fall Out Boy stuff. So you were probably, pretty decently happy with the set list.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think there's just, I just feel like there's so much more depth to these songs that you hear in these first couple albums versus some of the later stuff, like Light 'Em Up. I mean, I love the NHL just like anybody else does. But to me, it's like these have a lot more emotion tied to them. So you felt that in a lot of these live performances. I think that showed through just fine. So yeah, I was, I don't want to say like I softened up on Fall Out Boy listening to this, but things sound a little bit better than I remember.
Well, I will say that, you can take those huge singles, you can throw them out, and I don't really care. I feel like everything else is what I like most about Fall Out Boy. It's not Light 'Em Up. It's not Centuries. It's not Sugar We're Going Down. It's the stuff around it. But having said that, let me pause for a quick second and give a shout out to our patrons. We got Dr. Bernie, Steve Kelly, Steve C, Nick, Chris W, Sam, Jason, Ashley, Tom, Jeff, Punk Rock Bomb, Punkish Dad's friend, and Chris P. Thank you guys for subscribing, and you can go to patreon.com/HSNE pod if you want to do that. We'll remind you again at the end. Back to Fall Out Boy. So this record came out on April 1st, 2008. It's called Live in Phoenix. You see little asterisks over their faces on the album. I think that's some sort of a comment to the fact that they realized they curse a lot live, so they were kind of poking fun at themselves. This came out on Island Records. It also had a DVD of the entire show. I did not own or watch the DVD, so I cannot speak to any of that tonight. If you can, you can. If not, no worries. The CD has 15 tracks. The DVD has 22. So if you think about what this concert actually sounded and looked like, the DVD is probably a better example. But I don't have that, and I just listened to it a handful of times. Couple of guest spots here. The album itself did pretty well. It was certified platinum, so it sold a lot of actual CDs, maybe driven by a certain cover song single, which we will get to. But that's kind of it in terms of like, what is this that we're listening to? I don't know how they chose that they were going to record this in Phoenix, Arizona, because these guys are from Chicago. I think at this point in time, they're selling out wherever they go, but I don't know how they made that decision to like specifically record live in Phoenix, but that's that.
Yeah, that would be a great question. I'm trying to like think of, I mean, contractually, maybe they just, I doubt they were like, hey, pick a good performance. And they probably knew ahead of time. Not sure. And
this is actually during, I don't know if you're a fan of particular tours that you know, that happened year after year, but this was recorded during the Honda Civic tour. So if that means anything to you, Chris 183 or listener, the Honda Civic tour had some pretty crazy lineups back in the day. And so in 2007, this one I think makes absolute perfect sense that it's Fall Out Boy.
Yeah. Did you mention John Mayer?
Not yet. I just said there were some guest appearances.
Spoiler.
You're totally right. John Mayer plays the guitar on, I always like to say it like Borat because Michael Jackson's Beat It. I don't know. There's definitely an episode of Ali G Show where he says it like that, but it always comes to my mind. Yeah, John Mayer appears on Beat It, so that's a pretty cool cameo. And then there are some background vocals, which I'll mention when we get to the song, which won't take us too long.
Were you hoping that John Mayer was going to sing part of Beat It too?
No, I didn't really have too many expectations for. I remember it when Beat It came out. When that was I guess a single that accompanied this record. I never got the impression that he was going to sing.
But that would have been cool, right?
I mean, maybe. I think we should see. If you don't mind, I would like to pocket the Beat It conversation for when we hit that track in the list, if that's okay.
I just couldn't wait. I just had to talk about John Mayer.
Michael Jackson's Beat It.
Mm-hmm.
My wife.
Are you making Borat jokes in 2026?
Some Borat things just don't leave your brain. Ever.
Oh my God.
Number 2 prostitute in all of
We're
Kazakhstan.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one, but what we do agree on is that I think it's time to get into this.
Yes. Okay. Live in Phoenix from the Sky Pavilion, recorded in 2007, released in 2008. You want to start or you want me to start?
Well, I'll start. I know what Thriller is. I was still thinking this was going to be Michael Jackson's
Jackson Thriller.
I just thought for a second, like, wow, okay, they're gonna kick things off with a cover of Thriller. I could see Fall Out Boy doing that out of nowhere. That's, why not, right? But it's not. It's a nice opener for them. It's interesting that they would choose this one, but I think in terms of, the gravity of the song, like this is a big song. It sounds huge. I think live it probably, definitely makes that statement as the show starts. It gets people, fired up. Outside of that, I think that it goes back to what we were talking about with the audio. Like I think that, Patrick comes out like Patrick. He's definitely pretty fired up for the performance. You could hear that in his voice, but it's definitely not a polished sound, which you expect out of a band, live. So that's not a dig at anybody. It just kind of adds to that authentic nature of what I was talking about before. So not necessarily pointing that out as a bad thing. I think it definitely added to the experience as I mentioned. And overall, like I think it made sense as a nice opener. Not my song that's it's not a song that I'm necessarily like, oh yeah, this is the song I would open up Fall Out Boy sets to, but I see why they did it. Go ahead, Steve. I don't know if you have a different thought.
Yeah, some differing viewpoints. So when this album kicks off, you hear the screams from the crowd, so you understand that you're listening to a live interaction, a live concert performance, if you will. And then what happens is, so there's some sort of visual introduction going on stage. It sounds like maybe there's like a wheel spinning or you're at some sort of carnival. It's landing on different bits of songs, but it translates to an audio album about 0%. And it's a shame because I'm sure like they do a lot of cool visual stuff during their sets. I'm sure that this was probably cool. And if I really wanted to track down the DVD of this and like see exactly what's going on, I could have, but I didn't. I didn't watch it. So I'm left listening to this audio album, which is what our exercise was. It was audio albums, not DVDs. And, I'm like, all right, I wish I could kind of see what's going on because it's probably cooler than what it sounds like. The Jay-Z spat lines are always cool. I mean, it's still like just a really neat thing that like he did to work with them and spit some of his audio, FOB here, like in the beginning of this song, and they can use that live. This is a great set opener. It's a great album opener for Infinity on High. I love this song. I think it's perfect for a set opener, but the audio on the album just doesn't sound that great. Like I don't need it to be like polished and mixed and but you do get the you get the understanding that you're listening to an amphitheater. And when I see these guys in an amphitheater, like, it doesn't always sound that great because maybe I'm far away, whatever. The recording doesn't sound that great. You get a little bit of like Patrick kind of garbling his words a little bit. He does that a whole lot. Cry on the couch while the poets come to fix me like, I don't even mind that. I think it's endearing. I like to hear little different things. It's just fun to point out since we're talking about it. So I like this as the opener to the set. Did I think it sounded the best it could possibly sound on the live album? Not so much.
Yeah, I think that's just something that if you're listening to this, you're just going to kind of have to accept. Like,
you got to get over
what
it.
You're going to get.
That doesn't mean I can't keep talking about it. Next song is a very big song. It is called Grand Theft Autumn. Where is your boy? This is from Take This to Your Grave. We do get to hear Pete saying, please stand for your national anthem. And the great thing about this song is that it honestly can fit anywhere in a set. It could open the set. It could be number 2. It could be number 6. It could be the second to last song. It could be the last song, the first song after it could fit anywhere. You hear the crowd sing along this one in the beginning, which is cool because when you're at an amphitheater, there's a lot more motherfuckers there singing. So when it works and you can hear them, it does sound good. Not necessarily the best quality, it was probably better being there live, but this is a top tier Fall Out Boy song. And apparently Gabe Saporta is there supporting the vocals somewhere. I couldn't tell you exactly where, but he's in there somewhere. So that makes me smile because I like Gabe Saporta and I like Fall Out Boy. And guitar solo on this sticks out quite a bit in this version. So you do hear a lot of good guitars in this album. And that's all I got on Grand Theft Autumn.
Nothing much to add here other than I like the placement. I think it makes I really think the next two songs are a great 1-2 punch to help start off the performance. And I don't think, like, I really like the placement. I feel like there's a world where maybe you end the show with one of these next two songs, but they chose to open the show with song 2 and 3 with two of their biggest hits to date, and I really like that. I think that shows it shows something to be able to do that. So Grand Theft Autumn, Where's Your Boy? Obviously a huge song. I think it translated great to the live performance, and it fits great here. Like if you're the crowd, you may have gotten somewhat into it at Thriller. And I again, for a casual fan, Thriller's not going to be one that people are going to know as much as this one. So you hear Thriller, you're like, okay, great. Like that was a lot of energy. I think people are just excited about the show. They're like, we can't wait for Fall Out Boy. They finally are here. They play that first song. You're like, okay, great. And then they come in with this one, and you just kind of get sucked right into it. So makes a ton of sense. And I think that, and I'll go to the next one. It goes perfectly hand in hand with another one of their, arguably even bigger hits, Sugar We're Going Down. This one, all over the radio, very well known. And so you go from one hit to another right in a row. That crowd had to be electric at that point in time. I have to go back and listen to it to see if you can hear that. Probably yes. But it's, I just, again, like the fact that it's not really as polished as the studio version gives it a ton of charm. And the scrappy nature of what we're hearing from an audio standpoint, I think it definitely makes it stand out and makes you feel like you're there. So I'm all for it. Nothing really else on Sugar We're Going Down. I think we've talked about that song before ad nauseum. Definitely like the song itself. It's a good Fall Out Boy song, but it just helped me really get into the moment. And I think in terms of a live performance, it was the perfect pick here at number 3.
You know what screws it up though?
I don't know.
Pete has to talk, and he gets on before this song, and he screams, "Sugar, we're going down." Dude, I hate that. Like, you do not need to name this song out by name. We know it. Everyone knows it. You don't need to say the name of this song.
It did bother me. I don't know why.
Oh, God. It bothers me. This is one of those songs, again, it exemplifies the fact that, like, the biggest singles are not necessarily my favorites. It's a good song. I love to do the song in karaoke. Everybody knows it. I love what it did for them. Like, this song launched their career, like, without a doubt. But it's not a favorite of mine. I mean, although Taylor Swift just called out the fact that the lyrics in this song really spoke to her. You're just a notch in a bedpost, but you're just a line in a song. Patrick gives the crowd a little bit of interaction, kind of does a lot of those garbled words, instead of break a heart, it's kind of like, you hear the pyro exploding on the stage. I like that. I don't mind that it takes a little bit of away from what you're listening to because you hear those explosions. I think those are cool. You get Pete doing a few of his like screamy growl thingamajiggers, and then it's crazy because you think of this as like the ultimate like just pop punk type song, but the guitars sound very heavy in this live version, and it makes you kind of get a little bit of extra appreciation for that in this setting. So Sure Going Down, I'm cool with it being here. Again, this is a song they could close with. They always close with the same song, so that'll never change probably, but they could do it before that one, but they put it here at number 3 to get the crowd excited. So good idea.
And I like it. So that makes you think about like, wow, what are they going to close with? Like they already got these two, and there could be many different options on the closer. And I love that. I like that mystery. So
if you're like makes sense. A true, and this is not being, denigrating to you, a true Fall Out Boy fan knows what they're closing with because they close with the same song every time.
Well, I don't care. No, I mean,
still do that.
But whether you're true or not, like they always could change it up. So I disagree. I think that they always could switch it up.
They could, but they are a model of consistency.
Yeah,
just that one.
You never really know that, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
All
And I
right.
also think that the guitars are more aggressive throughout this in a lot of ways. Maybe save one or two songs, but they definitely souped it up in terms of guitars and aggressive nature of it. So,
Oh yeah, they sound good.
mhm.
All right, next one is our lawyer made us change the name of this song so we wouldn't get sued off a Cork Tree. This is the first song that kicks off Cork Tree. The song has a lot of good lyrics on it from the very beginning. Take my advice, we are bad. Put this record down. Take my advice, we're bad news. We're only good, so you can have almost famous friends. This version to me is not that. I mean, you can tell that it's a live version, but this version didn't necessarily do anything for me that the actual studio version does not. I think it was perfectly fine to have this right here. They have all their number one kickoff tracks included in the set list, and this was a good spot for it. So I enjoyed it. Nothing to really shout off the mountaintops about.
It's not like it just sounded like the song, but live. Not a huge fan of this song anyway. I think it's okay, but it kind of fades into the background for me. So I don't think it's a bad spot. I think anything coming off those last two songs makes an impact. And yeah, I mean, I think if you're a huge fan of their albums to date, this is probably one of the tracks that you're familiar with and potentially even really like. So I get it. But other than that, I don't know. It's just kind of another song after those two big hits, and it sounds the way it sounds. Now,
apparently, the song was originally titled "My Name Is David Ruffin, and These Are the Temptations." Before Fall Out Boy's lawyers intervened and told them to change the title.
I feel like we said that before.
Probably. We did a Cork Tree episode a long time ago.
Yeah, that's probably where it was.
Cut that.
Because I remember talking about the history behind the title. And I think I had asked the question, like, what did they change it from? And yeah, that was it. Okay. Was it David Ruffin?
That was a long time ago.
Was it? I remember that though. Was it David Ruffin that the lawyer didn't want them to use that name, or was it something else?
I mean, it could have been the Temptations. It could have been both. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember who David Ruffin is. I just did a kind of quick search on that, but yeah.
So the funny thing is about number 5, and that's Hum Hallelujah, is I made the joke last time we did this, that I thought it was the Hallelujah song that is on, I don't know, I keep wanting to say it's on Shrek, but I don't know if it is or not. But obviously that wasn't the case. This is a different song. However, they build it into this song. So they go, Hallelujah. And I've never been so happy that I'm right about this. And I have been right this whole time that it is a part of this song. It's a part of the song. And it was no joke. It was for real.
We never really talked about this album in its entirety. We never album spotlit it.
But I remember talking about Hum Hallelujah specifically. So it was on something that we did talk about. I don't know where it was.
We did a full Fall Out Boy episode where we talked about their whole discography. And so we probably got into it there.
So yeah, I mean, I know that I look. I know you're a fan of this song. You talk about it a lot. I think it's a good song. I don't know if I think it's great. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I'm not as nostalgic for it. Maybe because I haven't listened to it as much as you guys have. Would this song be one that I would be disappointed with hearing? No. I mean, I think it's a really well-built song. I just don't go over the moon for it. There's nothing, musically that I think I listen to and I'm like, wow, this is like amazing, out of this world. I love that melody. I love that chorus. Like, I think it's a well put together song and it's decent for Fall Out Boy. I love the fact that they added in that Hallelujah reference by Leonard Cohen, but that's pretty much it.
I do think all those things that you said that you don't think, but Pete says something in the beginning of this track, but you can't really decipher it on this recording. Like, shut up, dude. Enough. This one, as you said, this one is my jam. It was my favorite off of this album from the moment that I got it. I mean, I love the pace of the song. I love the drums, the guitar, the pre-chorus, the chorus, fantastic. Some great lyrics. I thought I loved you. It was just how you looked in the light. I'll admit that back in the day, there was a lady that this was my ringtone for that lady when she would call me. The song itself is absolutely fantastic, phenomenal. It's definitely better than all of the singles from that album, maybe put together. I don't know. I got sucked into this one immediately. I think this is a good live version of it. I enjoyed it. Again, other than Pete talking in the beginning, I've no notes.
I remember you being over the moon for this one, and
it's a good memory.
I was listening to it, and I was waiting for something better, I guess, and I never got it.
I don't know. This one hits me hard. I love it every time I hear it. And you don't hear it too often because it wasn't an official single off this record, but I think it was one of the stronger songs.
All I can say is I tried. I just couldn't get there.
Thank you. I'm glad you gave it a shot.
I tried.
All right, next up, we have Tell That Mick. He just made my list of things to do today from their first album, Take This to Your Grave. Another awesome Fall Out Boy album starter. Pete telling us to put your fucking hands in the air. Ugh, okay. This one is just fast. It's harsh. It's clever. So many cutting lines. I'll give Pete that. His lines, his poetry, top notch. I hope you choke on those words that kiss that bottle. Let's play this game called When You Catch Fire, I Wouldn't Piss to Put You Out. Stop burning bridges and drive off of them so I can forget about you. And then the worst one, oh my God. Breaking Hearts has never looked so cool as when you wrapped your car around a tree. Your makeup looks so great next to his teeth. Jesus fucking Christ. How do you put that pen to that paper and make this into a song? How do they turn that into a song that you want to sing along to? I don't know, but they fucking did it. And this is a fantastic jam.
Take This to Your Grave, my man. This is one of the albums I definitely like, and this is that first track off of that album. We did do Take This to Your Grave, if I remember correctly, and if I remember correctly, we didn't. I swear we did.
I'm pretty sure we've only done Cork Tree, and we did Mania, and we did So Much for Stardust because it was new.
Maybe it was that high level overview of all of Fall Out Boy, but I feel like I remember calling this song out as one that stuck with me. So don't need to necessarily do analysis on the actual song, but I think that, live, I think this one definitely works well in a live performance. It's fast. Like you said, it has bite to it. People can get into those, hard hitting lyrics. I think, as much as I have a hard time that I give him, I think Patrick's did a good job here spitting out those lines and really kind of matching with the song. Pete didn't bother me. It seems like Pete bothers you a lot on this album.
I just don't like to hear him talk, and he just talks too much. I have a note later on that I'm going to bring up. So,
like in general, or just on this performance?
Not so much recently, but back then, yes. I was never into Pete. Like, I don't know. I just got the impression that Pete was like, this is my band. I am the front man, even though I'm not the lead singer, and I will do all the talking. And I just felt like he came off very douchey a lot of times. And I've heard some more recent, in the last 5 to 10 years, more recent interviews with him and Patrick. And I feel like he's definitely grown up and evolved a little bit since those days. But in these days, like, I don't know, man. I don't want to hear from him. I'd want to hear from Patrick. I don't want to hear from him.
And he doesn't. Patrick's more likable. I mean, that's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And most of what he says on this record is quite, like, I don't know. It's not like it's grating, like it hurts
Cringe
me.
is the word you're going for.
Yeah. It is. It makes me cringe.
Interesting. You like Old Man Pete better.
Yes, I do. I feel like Pete has evolved in his middle age, for sure. And I think that he would probably say the same thing about himself. Not that I'm putting him on the therapy couch or anything like that, but I think he would probably agree with that. And, I'm just a fan saying what I hear.
These guys have egos. I mean, it's no joke. Anybody in a band, that are in their 20s or even early 30s, younger. There's going to be egos involved, and regardless of whether they get along or they don't, you see it come out on stage. I guess this might be, and was Patrick really ever opposed to that? Like, did he ever say, "Yeah, I don't care, Pete can do what he wants," or was he kind of like whatever that guy? Like,
That I don't know, but what it came off as is I'm the front man, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Even though you're the singer. And that is probably not the intent. These guys are good friends to my knowledge. However, and especially again, in more recent interviews before So Much for Stardust, I mean, Patrick mentioned, when he gets lyrics from Pete, he opens up these emails and it's like it's Christmas time because he can take these lyrics and then he can write the songs. And but I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong. I bet you there's other Fall Out Boy fans out there who maybe feel the same. Just, that's the impression I got. Is he's the man.
Sure.
Don't take my mic time, even though you're the singer. I'll introduce the song. I'll say, "Hey, it's Sugar, we're going down." Like, no thanks.
Yeah. Man, you're wound up. You're angry.
Yeah, let's calm me down. Let's move on to the next song.
I've never heard you be this angry about. Usually, I'm angry about Fall Out Boy, but I'm the one that's the apologist.
I'm not angry about it. I'm just telling you what my opinions, my recollections, my observations, all of these things.
Rage-induced rants.
I got no rage. I'm not green.
I don't know about this next song, Steve. This one here, I'll make you mad. I don't like this at all. It fades into the background. It's kind of blah. I don't care for this next song. I'm sorry.
So this one is, I'm like a lawyer with the way I'm always trying to get you off, parentheses, me and you. It's from Infinity on High. I guess I would call this a little bit more of a mid-tempo song. The lead guitar in the background sounds very cool in this recording. I feel like that's something that doesn't seem so prominent on the album version. It's almost kind of like its own vocal. Overall, though, it's not the strongest Fall Out Boy track. It's probably one that I would have cut out or substituted from the set. So I think I'm somewhat agreeing with you that I don't really need to hear this in the set.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an audience for it. I'm sure there's people that like that song specifically. But I don't know. For someone that, like, I guess I can't have stuff I don't listen to a ton always stick out. Like, wow, did I make a mistake? Not every song is going to be that. I think there's going to be certain songs that either A, grow on you with listening to it a ton of times, or they just stick out. This is neither of those. So,
all right. So I'll start the next one. A little less 16 Candles, a little more Touch Me. So we're going back to From Under the Cork Tree. I don't blame you for being you. Big pyro hit at the beginning. You can hear that on the stage. Makes it sound big. Patrick's voice sounds real good in the intro. Another great song off of From Under the Cork Tree. Pete does not sound particularly great when he chimes in with his background support, and nothing else to really say about this track here.
Not really, man. I thought you would have more to say. I don't.
Not that much.
I think the standout for me was Patrick's vocal delivery. I think that as much as, again, man, you're going to think I'm some kind of hypocrite, but I think it pushes the envelope here, and it sounds pretty good. Like it's the only thing I can really call out that I think was a big positive with this track, because it gives it more of a, I don't know, it just sounds better. I honestly think it sounds better than the way it's recorded from the studio.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the realism of it. Who knows? Who knows? But what I do know is the next track, number 9, is Beat It.
Michael Jackson Beat It.
It is Michael Jackson Beat It without the Borat. But guys, this is a good cover. I think they do a really good job. I remember hearing this. I swear, this was all over the radio, wasn't it? It had to have been.
They released this as a single, yes.
Yeah, and I was into this one. I think it was the first Fall Out Boy cover that like was a big deal, right?
Let me think. Yeah, I think it was. I mean, way more recently, they've done what, We Didn't Start the Fire.
Yeah, they did the Monsters theme.
That's not a cover. That's just a sample.
Basically. but it's a well done. Like it takes that Beat It and then makes it into a pop punk ish type of song that is Patrick Stump's voice instead of Michael Jackson. And I thought it was pretty cool the way that it sounded. Listen, excuse me. I was
God bless you.
that was like a cough though. But thank you. I was big into Alien Ant Farm and what they did with Smooth Criminal.
Hell yeah.
And you know, so anything Michael Jackson that got turned into that style, I thought was a really cool thing, and this was no exception. So, you know, the fact that this was a live performance of that kind of sounded. I'll tell you what, this one specifically, I'd love to know your thoughts on it, but I think it sounded a little bit more polished than maybe some of the other.
This is not a live song.
That's what. So that makes sense then, because it felt like it wasn't. It felt like it was in a different spot. It was a lot louder, a little bit crisper, and that's fine. It sounded great. So John Mayer, he anything he touches is gold. Basically, that's the moral of the story here.
I got to take you and our audience into my my private text messages with this one. I was texting with our buddy Steve Kelly from Port Maria, and we were talking about this album. And he goes, "Is that the album that had the Michael Jackson cover?" And he specifically says studio cover on it. And I go, "That's right, it does, but I thought that was part of the live show." And he goes, "No, this was a studio recording done like a please buy this live album track." And then he followed that up with, "God, I fucking hate Pete Wentz, ultimate pop punk douche." So he also kind of shared a lot of my thoughts there. Honestly, why would you stick this in the middle of a live show on the record? You put it at the end. It's so dumb. You don't interrupt a live show with a studio version of a song. That is a terrible, terrible decision. My opinion. In terms of the actual song, the guitars sound sick. John Mayer is a phenomenal guitar player. And in my opinion, there are very few singers that can cover Michael Jackson well. And Patrick Stump is one of them. When you talk about Smooth Criminal, the way that Michael Jackson kind of sings that song, it definitely lends itself to whoever the lead singer of Alien Ant Farm is. It's like, it's not necessarily like super melodic. It's kind of like soft and whispery. So you came into the window, and it was like, you know what I mean? But Beat It is a very loud, melodic Michael Jackson song, which I would find difficult to cover, and Patrick fucking nails it. The chorus sounds so fantastic. The verses are clean. You can make out all the words perfectly. This is a very good cover song, save for the fact that it's so weird they put it in the middle of a live album.
Yeah, doesn't bother me as much. You can skip past it and come back to it at the end if you want.
I know, but when you're listening to it as a full piece of work, it's like, why is that there? This is a live album. Why you got a studio track in the middle?
You could just imagine that it's part of the live performance, and then you'll feel a lot better about yourself.
I mean, I'd feel a lot better about the choices of the album tracking. Yes, I would. But
also, one more thing, I think that you're right about the fact that he does a good job with the way he delivers it. I don't think he sounds like Michael Jackson. I think he succeeds because he stays true to the way Patrick Stump sings, with the flair of, or with the spirit of how Beat It is delivered by Michael Jackson. So it's not necessarily 100%. It's not an imitation. He makes it his own, but keeps the spirit of it, and that's why it's so special. So
the one line that stands out to me, because when he's like, "Show him how funky strong is your fight," like when he delivers that, it's not the exact cadence the way Michael does it, but it's still very powerful and really good. I think wherever the emphasis is on, maybe the word funky, it's very well done. Very well done.
And those are some of the best covers out there, by the way. Like those that do that can do those things that we just talked about. the straight up like imitation covers, they're not as good as these. So I give him a lot of credit for this song, and what he was he what him he they a lot of credit for this song because they knocked it out of the park. So I totally couldn't agree more.
All right, let's keep this going on. We're going to go back into the live concert now. So, listener, you just listened to a studio track in the middle of a live album, but now we're going back to the live album, and we're going back into the live show after a super fast studio version of Beat It, and we get the slowest song possible. It's called Golden. It's from Infinity on High. I am not against playing ballads live by any means, but other than Patrick showing us that he can play piano, I don't care that much at all for this song, and I do not really need it in the set list. Yeah, not necessary. I mean, if there's a skip, this is probably it.
Yeah, I think there's a time and a place for this. Like again, listening to this in a certain setting, it's a decent ballad. I mean, whatever. Not something that you don't have as part of a live set. You got to have a slow down piece. Are you trying to say you would pick a different ballad or a different slow down song outside of Golden?
Maybe. I mean, they did do a song called Carpal Tunnel of Love, which I don't know if you know exactly what that is, but they played that one actually like right before this one in the DVD in like the real live show. So, but they only had this one on the actual audio CD.
Yeah, I mean, for a ballad, it's fine. I think that it sounds okay. I don't know. I have nothing much more to say.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't think the next track is fine. I've always been anti. I've been anti this next song, and the next song is "This Ain't a Scene." It's an arms race. I will say though, okay, so this does stick out into my head. He does start out with the lyrics for "I write sins, not tragedies." It's kind of cool at the time, like this. At that point in time, that song's not beaten to the ground like it is today in 2026, but it's cool to hear them sing it. I don't know, for some reason. Because in some ways there's a lot of similarities between the way the two bands sound.
They're very much related to each other.
Yeah, so like I like that a lot, but then like then he's like, this isn't that band, this isn't that whatever, and he said, I don't know if that's Pete saying that or who, but
it's always Pete.
It's always Pete.
It's always Pete saying things.
He exclaims the fact that that's a different band and this isn't that song, and now listen to our song, and they get into it. This ain't a scene. And my biggest problem with the song, Steve, is the hook. This ain't a scene. It's a goddamn arms race. Like, I just think that's so beat. It just doesn't sound good. And maybe that's my whole part. Like, I don't even mind as much the melody in the chorus, or I'm sorry, the verse. I think there's some charm to that, but whatever. This hook just takes me out of it. I can't stand it. Live or not.
Yeah. I don't hate the song. I think it's okay. You talked about the Panic at the Disco. Another time Pete Wentz feels the need to say the name of the song. Just to me, another example of how the big hit songs may not really be their strongest for me. It's fine. I don't really hate the song. I kind of like the vibe that he's talking about how it's, I don't know, difficult to make it in this scene. This ain't a scene, it's an arms race. Just the concept of the song, it's fine. It's not the strongest chorus. I would say I don't know what you call it, maybe the post-chorus. I'm a leading man, the Liza Weaver, oh so intricate. I mean, that's probably the better part of the song, but it's just, it's not one of their best songs, even though it is clearly one of their top songs.
I guess, so for it to be a top song, somebody has to like it out there.
I mean, I think the world liked it. Not me so much.
Yeah, thumbs up to that for sure.
Thumbs up to that. So we can go on now to the next one, which is another single We're actually in a huge Infinity on High like block here. We have what? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 Infinity on High songs in a row, which happens to be one of my favorite albums by them. And we get Thanks for the Memories. I think maybe the only part of listening to Pete talk is like when he actually explains this song. This song is about loving a girl so much that you just want to cut her up in a million pieces and eat her because she tastes like you, only sweeter. This is how you like intro a track in a live album. You don't just scream the fucking name of the track. This ain't a scene, it's an arms race. Sugar, we're going down. You talk a little bit about where the song came from.
Yeah.
So he does that.
Hold on.
Yes.
I think that's incredibly. I would rather him have just said the name of the song than talk about cutting somebody up and eating them. Like, seriously, Pete?
I would rather hear a little bit about where a song came from, because that's not something that is like listed on the back of the CD, like the name of the song. So regardless whether you like this description of the song, I just would rather hear something about the song when I'm listening live.
Gotcha.
Rather than this song is called Thanks for the Memories. Put your fucking hands. Like, I don't need to hear that. Like,
just call the song Pete Wentz. Just call every song Pete Wentz.
To me, this is their biggest / best single off of Infinity on High. I remember the video. You remember it was like there were like a bunch of monkeys, and the monkeys were like directing a Fall Out Boy video, and they were like doing all this stupid shit. I love the song. I love the silly thing where they took the vowels out of the title of the song, right? It's Thanks for the Memories, but the way it's spelled is THNKSFRTHMMRS. I don't know. I find that quirky. I find that very quirky. Some of their, like long album, the long title names, some I find quirky, some maybe not. I don't know. But I think this is something that no one has ever done before, and it is quite quirky. I think this song has an absolutely incredible chorus. It's got this great, slow, fast mix and pace to it. The crowd sing along they try and do does not work well in this setting. Like, you can't hear it enough. Maybe that's the point in the set list. Maybe that's the fact that it's an amphitheater. I don't know what it is, but the song itself is tops for them. I love it.
It's a great song. So the way that I take the thanks for the members.
Thanks for the members.
It's text message vernacular. It has to be.
It's T-Mobile Sidekick.
Yeah, it's when people had to hit the button 3 times to get a letter. Just like, what are you doing tonight with an NITE? Like, you remember all that?
Nowadays it's just totally different. Everyone just uses the first letter
with a number 2. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I don't even know what it is today. But okay, so everything you said, Thanks for the Memories, big hit, translates phenomenal live. Look, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tear this song down because it's such a big chorus. It's a catchy melody. I've never been mad at Thanks for the Memories. So I think at this point in time of the performance later, like the fact that they I'll just spoil it. They ended as strong as where they start this one, and this is the beginning of that. So I think it's a great shot in the arm right here for the 12th track. Even though number 9 didn't count, it's still towards the end. It gets the energy back. It gets people that potentially didn't get into this ain't a scene as much, didn't know a little less 16 Candles, and I'm Like a Lawyer. They're back in it again, and they're ready to close this out with some really great tracks coming up.
And thank you to Fall Out Boy for not putting out a double DVD that was 35 tracks. That helps our timing in terms of podcasting compared to last week.
Yes. Oh, it feels so bad. It feels so good to only have 15 tracks.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Nothing against Real Big Fish. I love all those songs. Just too much.
Yep.
All right. Let's see here. So this next one is the Takeover, the Breaks Over. I like this track. I'm just not as I'm not as nostalgic for it, or it's not as in my memory. I'm just not as just don't I don't remember this one. So, but I liked it. I was into it. Can't connect with it like I do songs that I do know, but I don't know. I thought it was good. I don't want to say I thought it was good. I just thought it was a good spot. I think the song is what it is. It's probably better if you've heard it more than once before, though. So I'll defer to you on this one.
Yeah,
on an opinion.
it's a bad spot. More Pete intro here. They should have just edited that out. That's fine. This one has a cool vibe to it. The song itself, like, wouldn't you rather be a widow than a divorcee? I don't find this one to be a big song. I probably would have had it earlier in the set list and maybe moved up Grand Theft Autumn or Sugar or Hum Hallelujah into this spot because we're approaching the end here. So I maybe would have subbed out the order of it, but I will say the piano sounds really good in the background, which I don't remember from the album version, and I do like the song. So I'm not saying anything bad about it. It just doesn't have we're in the last 3 songs of this album. And again, I have to just double check the set to see exactly if I think the live one is very close to this, but I maybe would have subbed out the order a little bit, but I think the song has a place here in this record for sure.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't think that it's a bad thing to put a song here that isn't one of the huge hits. I don't know how big of a hit this is. I don't know where this sits in terms of the fandom. Like, is this a cult classic or, a cult favorite, or is this one that people say is underrated, or that there's a big following? It's just not a hit. I don't know. I don't know any of those things.
I think I think it's a basic album track. I think it's well liked, but it's an album track. I don't think that this one makes a set list nowadays. Most likely, I could be wrong. I'd have to double check, but
yeah, I mean, so. If it was Blink and they played, I don't know, Dick Lips here, that's not a huge song. I don't know if it's a good, maybe Turpentine. I don't know, something that is really good, but a lot of people may not necessarily know because they're just a casual Blink-182 fan. I'd be over the moon, but they would be like, well, I don't know what that song is.
Let's unpack this real quick and let's figure this out here. So they've now, in terms of Fall Out Boy discography, they had Take This to Your Grave, they had Cork Tree, and they had Infinity on High. So there's really 3 albums. Okay. So if we're going to go back and talk Blink, right, we're talking, we'll just start at Dude Ranch, Enema, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. So let's say that we're Blink and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket just came out and they're playing this one, Take Over the Breakover, is from the most recently released one. So we're now talking Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. So we're looking for an album track off Take Off Your Pants and Jacket that is later on in the set. This would be like if they played Roller Coaster or
I was
Shut
thinking
Up.
Roller Coaster. No, that's exactly what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Roller Coaster.
And you know what? As a Blink fan, as a Fall Out Boy fan, I'm cool to hear that one. But I would maybe say the same thing, that maybe Roller Coaster is more of a mid-set, early set kind of track.
Maybe even Reckless Abandon.
I feel like Reckless Abandon deserves to be an end of, that's just my personal opinion. I feel like that is one that's not a single, but that is such a fucking great song that would deserve to be here, and that I would never question that. But I really like this exercise. That was fun unpacking there, Chris.
Wow. Yeah, spur of the moment stuff. I love it. Organic.
I
was just thinking about that. I don't know. I was just thinking about that.
That was good. Good for us. We're so entertaining.
Good for us. We are.
Right.
So is the next song, Steve. Entertaining.
Dance of Cork Tree. I think I remember that you do not like this song. Don't spoil it yet.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, you do your thing.
I think I remember that Chris 183 does not like this song. Listen, I get it. It's a little cheesy, but it's an earworm. To me, I will never forget when I got Cork Tree for the first time. This was one of the first songs that really stuck out to me, even more than Sugar We're Going Down. I love this song. I thought it was awesome. Pete screaming at us, "Are you ready to dance, dance?" Ugh, God, cringe, stop. It also seemed like in this recording that they were off a beat in the beginning when it was just the drums and the vocals, but they fixed it as they go along. I love Dance Dance. I think this is a great song. I enjoy it anytime I hear it. But I will say that I think I've heard them do this one sounding a bit better than on this recording, if I'm being honest.
You're right. I can't stand. There's bits and pieces I can tolerate, but for the most part, this is a song that I skip or turn off. I think Sugar, We're Going Down, Grand Theft Autumn, Thanks for the Memories. If we're talking big hits, like any of those, I would listen to over this song a million times in a day. I get why it's here. I understand that it's a big song. I don't mind them using this as the second to last song. If this were the last song, I would be pissed off as a person at the show. I'm glad it's not, and that's pretty much it. So yes, I do get it, but I'm glad it's not the last song. This is not what I would want to be left with if I paid for a ticket to go see this band, which I won't. Again,
you may. We'll see.
I didn't Hella Mega Tour, Steve. I feel like I
went
did
for
not,
Weezer and Green Day,
and
you got Fall Out Boy as an appetizer.
I don't think that I watched them though.
Really?
I think we got there late and just got there in time for Weezer. Yeah.
No. Weezer was first, dude.
I don't think so.
Yes, 100%.
Well, I paid no attention. Oh, you know what it was?
Weezer was first.
That sucks too. I don't know why, but it's I feel like it started to rain so hard that during Fall Out Boy I went back inside and didn't listen.
It also rained during my leg of that tour. It actually started raining when Weezer started playing Africa. I swear to God.
I think it did the same thing in Pittsburgh. I swear it did.
They brought the rains down.
And this is the last. I got to talk about that just for 10 seconds. Have you ever been rained on so much that you just don't worry about it anymore? Like your shirt is so wet that it doesn't matter anymore. Like
yes.
You can't get any more, rain wet than you did. And so you just exist.
I think that the example that I would refer to, I think our buddy Jeff, who's listens to our show, was with me. And we went to see Linkin Park, and we were at the amphitheater. So we were on the lawn, and I went to the bar and asked for a plastic bag that I could put my phone in. So I was not concerned about my phone getting destroyed. And I was so wet that it didn't matter anymore. Yes.
Yeah, that's at first you're like, oh, this sucks. I hate it. It feels awful. And then you're like,
this is
whatever.
It's like, so they say that with animals, with cats in particular, when they get sick, they just feel like, okay, well, like this is my life now. Like this is how I am. And they just accept it. Like that's what you come to accept when have reached a level of wetness at the concert.
And I was wearing my light blue High School Never Ends t-shirt, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So
at least it wasn't white.
It basically was white.
So it's like a wet t-shirt contest.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm just a guy. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that was probably was it in the baseball stadium? Where was it?
Yeah, baseball.
So I mean, there were areas of refuge if you needed to, go escape the rain. I was very close to, I think, an overhang. So I didn't get totally poured on, just like lightly poured on.
We were just beyond the overhang, so we got totally poured on.
All right, well, let's pour it on the final song of this set list.
Yeah. What'd you think about this selection? Even though you knew it was coming, what do you think about this selection?
So here's the thing. And you're asking me to go first. You had the turn to go first, unless you want to defer.
I'm deferring to the mega fan. I want you to do this.
So to this day, at least to my knowledge, they always close with Saturday. They always close with it, which is From Take This to Your Grave. And listen, I just think, as much as I've kind of shat on Pete Wentz and his decisions, whatever, I think it's super cool for a band, even at this point in time. Right, they don't have the Light 'Em Up, I'm on Fire, Centuries, or Uma Thurman. They don't have that many, that like career spanning amount of hits, but they still do this now where they close with Saturday. So I think it's cool for a band that has so many big songs to kind of remember like their first one. And it's not their best song or anything, but it is a classic off their first album. Pete gets his screams in on this one. I always still enjoy hearing them close with Saturday, so I liked it. And one thing to note here is that there's no like encore nonsense, unless that was edited out. I have no idea, but there's no this bullshit. Hey, we have 2 more songs. Blah, 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 blah. None of that. It's just boom. This is the set list. Saturday, we are ending with it, and that's that.
I think that I love the selection here. I think it's a great track. It's actually a track that I appreciate from Fall Out Boy. I think there's a ton of emotion with this one. It sounds good, man. And it's so refreshing to have them finish, especially at this point in time in 2007, where they could have finished with a mega hit, and they didn't do that. Instead, they finished with a song that sounds great.
One of the first songs they ever wrote.
By rights, it could be a mega hit. I feel like this one melodically stands similar to the ones that did become very, very big, to date in 2007. So, the fact that it didn't is just happenstance, circumstantial, whatever the case is. It was an early song, but I love the fact that they do feature it. And I think that at the end of a performance, this is the song that probably makes people go home feeling good about. This was a great performance. That's how I would feel. That's how I would feel leaving on this note. A lot of other bands do this too. They end on a song that isn't necessarily one that's their biggest hit or that people know the most. Not. I shouldn't say a lot of bands. Some do it, and I always think it's a great choice and pretty refreshing. So I was all here for this. I think definitely something that stood out to me in this whole set list and this whole live performance album. I really liked that a lot. So I was a fan of that, Steve.
Nice. Anything that you felt was missing from the set list?
Not really. Not at this point in time. Without really like knowing all of the songs up to this point inside and out, I probably am not the best one to ask that. But just from a high level, no, I think they covered it. I don't know. Maybe there was one that I was thinking about. Now you got me on. I'm just taking a look at one album to see if there's something. And while I'm looking, what about you? Was there anything that you think was missing?
Well, here's the thing. There was a DVD version that has more tracks. So there's like an Akon cover. There's like a Timbaland song. They also do. So I thought maybe of all the gin joints in all the world, but they played that. It just didn't make the album, the audio album. I thought maybe Nobody Puts Baby in a Corner could have belonged here. And for me, like I can't even remember if I've seen them do Chicago Was So 2 years ago, but that's one of my favorite Fall Out Boy songs. So like I would have liked that there. But for all intents and purposes, I think they kind of nailed it. Folie à Deux isn't even out yet, so you don't have Disloyal Order of Water Buffaloes or I Don't Care. I think that they pretty much got it, other than a couple of tracks that maybe I just, as a fan, would have preferred to hear.
Yeah, you got the one that I was going to say was
Gin Joints of all gin joints in the
no,
world.
it was Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorites. So,
I don't know if I've ever heard them play that live, to be honest.
Yeah, that's crazy. I really like that track, but
it's a good one.
Whatever. They don't do it, so
we got through it. Not 35 tracks, 15 tracks. Thank you, Fall Out Boy. I will say Fall Out Boy sounds better live now than they did back then. So I hope Fall Out Boy is doing a tour at some point soon. There's nothing on the schedule that I can see, but I'd like to see them at some point soon.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Before we wrap, let's do a quick ranking it. Steve, do you have a top 3 off of this album that you'd like to share?
Sure. I probably would have put Dance Dance at number 3, but just the performance wasn't the best. So I'm going to give number 3 to Tell That Mickey just made my list of things to do today. I felt like that one was nailed. Number 2, I'm going with Grand Theft Autumn, Where's Your Boy, the second track on the album, which could have, again, fit anywhere in this live set. And I'm going to stick with my favorite Fall Out Boy song in Hum Hallelujah, because I don't think that one really makes the set list in 2026. So I was glad to hear it as part of this set list in 2007 or 8. So Hum Hallelujah, number 1.
This is a little bit more challenging. I'm going to go, man. Grand Theft Auto is number 3. Grand Theft Autumn is number 3 for me. If I could go non-live, it would be Beat It at number 2, but I'll go live just because it's in the spirit of what we're doing. So I think Grand Theft Autumn, Thanks for the Memories is number 2. I like Saturday. I think it's number 1. I think it was well done and in a good spot. So there you go. 3, 2, 1.
All right. No cork tree for you.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been. I don't know. I just felt like a lot of that middle stuff faded into the background for me.
It's all good.
I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening along to High School Never Ends Kills It Live. We did 4 live albums. In the month of May, we talked a little bit about Newfound Glory. We talked about Starting Line. We talked about Real Big Fish. And we talked about Fall Out Boy. Wasn't quite sure if talking about live albums would translate to our podcast, but I think it worked out pretty well, Chris.
I do too. I think that, there's a lot of nuances to live albums that you really don't think about until you really think about them. And it was cool to be able to go back and do that and really, think about some of the nuances and honestly, like, you can put yourself back in, being at some of these concerts live, thinking about your experiences, talking about others' experiences. There's a lot of cool stuff to think about and talk about with this whole exercise. So, surprisingly enough, with Fall Out Boy, I thought I was going to be like, oh my God, why are we talking about this? I can't really get this band, but I ended up being okay with this album and these tracks. I had a different perspective. Potentially, it was my experience earlier tonight, but I don't know, maybe not. Had to be a little bit more than that.
All right,
well, I think it was a good idea.
If we missed any live albums that you think we should talk about, hit us up in the DMs or the comments and let us know. There are certainly other ones out there. And we will not close ourselves off to not potentially do this again. So looking forward to your feedback.
Absolutely. A lot of other live performances and albums out there. And hey, guys, if you enjoyed the show, let us know. You can write us a review on Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star review if you really liked not only this show, but any other show on the High School Never Ends list of shows that we have out there. And there are a lot of them, something for everybody. So go check those out. And also, don't forget, we have a shop with some really cool stuff available, mugs, hats, shirts, all there on the shop. You can get there simply by going to our hub. It's www.hsnepod.com.
That's right. And follow us on the social medias. We have Instagram and Facebook at HSNE Pod, like High School Never Ends Pod. We have a Discord server. You can get that through our website, where you can chat all about our episodes, pop punk, life, anything you want. That's free. If you want to support the show with a little $5 or $10 donation, you can join our Patreon and get access to bonus content and episodes. You can do that by going to patreon.com/HSNEpod. And a perfect example is, Chris, coming up next month, we have You Pick 'em June, where the folks out there through Instagram suggested all of the albums that we may talk about and then voted in several rounds which ones we should choose. And our Patreon's got a special fast pass, if you will, if we're talking about Disney, to the second round. So we did not officially announce who won. If you were paying like really close attention to our stories, you might know, but we'll keep that in our pockets. You Pick 'em June is coming up around the corner. So thank you, everybody who may have cast a vote there. We will be back next week with a new You Pick 'em June episode. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up your rock hands, and blast the pop punk.
It's Dragon Wagon.